What's up, Outcasts? Welcome to the breakdown of my upcoming modded Fallout 4 playthrough. There's a absolute ton of things to cover here, so in order to not spend a crazy amount of time in the comments section and the episodes themselves explaining why and how things are different, I decided to just do one big video covering not just those things, but also my intended build, my goals, and the rules itself for the playthrough. Hopefully this will serve to clarify it all to a large degree. So let's begin by going over the basics, starting with the Creation Club. You can purchase any of these mods that I have with real money, and they will get added to the base game just like a DLC, meaning you can still earn trophies like normal. I purchased most of the bigger packs here with money, but on Thursdays you can log into the Creation Club, and there's usually a couple of free things, which is where most of my skins and paint jobs came from. But they also put some things on discount, so they're always a little overpriced at regular, but if you catch them on discount, they're a bit more reasonable. So let's just start off here. We have the Anti-Materiel Rifle, which comes with a quest called Paper Mirror. It's a decent weapon and an okay quest. Got a bunch of armor paints here for the Brotherhood of Steel, Children of Atom, the Gunners, the Institute, the Minutemen, Nuka Cherry paint job, which I don't ever use, but I guess it's kind of cool. We got one here for the Railroad. Then we got this graphic t-shirt pack. It adds a bunch of outfits with famous in-game brands and IPs on them. I don't really use them, but they look neat. Then we got the Handmade Shotgun, which adds both a double and a triple barrel version. These come with legendary effects too, so these are gonna be really handy for this run. You'll find out why later. Then we got the Manuel Rifle Set, which adds 2 new guns and a mission with its own story called the Quantum Stag. They're good weapons, okay mission. Got the Modular Military Backpack, which is a customizable backpack with more than 30 variations, all of which add small bonuses and some extra carry weight. If you're like me and you only play in survival mode, this thing is a must. Got a bunch of Pip-Boy paints here. These aren't really important to the run, but they're there. Same thing here, power armor paints, not really important, but there they are. Then we got the Sentinel Control System Companion, which adds a mission to recover an AI piloted suit of power armor. This guy is one of the most OP mods in the Creation Club, but he's also a ton of fun. I'm not sure if we're going to use him for this run, but we might. Then we got the Settlement Ambush Kit, which adds the ability to trigger waves of enemies that will come and attack your settlements. It adds a lot of really neat craftable walls and things like that, and it's a lot of XP all at once if you really want it. Then we got the Trans Dogifier, which lets me change the skin on dog meat. Even though I'm not going to run around with him as a companion, I definitely have plans for this one. Then we got some weapon paints here, Children of Atom, Gunners, Minutemen, Railroad, Institute, and finally we have the Zayton Arsenal, which adds the alien weapons from Fallout 3's Mothership Zeta DLC. They're decent weapons, but I don't know if we'll use them for this playthrough. But that does it for the Creation Club. Now we can move on to the mods, and believe me, this is where everything gets fun and crazy. And here we have the mod list. This is going to get interesting, I'm telling you. So let's start off. We got the Unofficial Fallout 4 patch. As you can see, it just patches hundreds of small bugs everywhere that Bethesda should have fixed themselves. Love you guys. But, you know, should have done the thing. Next up, we got Simple Green, so we can add some greenery to the world. Believe me, it'll even out, and you're not used to seeing color in Fallout anyway, so it'll definitely have some contrast. Here we got the Simple Green grass reduction. It just makes it so that everywhere isn't just covered in grass. There's patches of it, but it's not just grass as far as the eye can see. Here we have the NPC Overhaul. This one makes it so that every NPC is basically not sniping at you from far away with expert aim, even though they're using crappy weaponry. And it also means that they have ammo. They can't just shoot at you forever. Eventually they'll run out of ammo if they just stand there and shoot at me, and they'll have to come get me with melee weapons, or they won't get me at all. Then we got dirty water pumps. No more purified water coming out of those pumps. It's kind of silly that irradiated dirt would produce clean water. So no more of that. Then we have nuka barrels across the Commonwealth. Yes, there it is. Nearly 1,700 nuka barrels across the Commonwealth, just scattered everywhere. You can shoot them and they'll blow up. You can harvest them for nuclear material. And believe me, you're gonna notice that they're there. Then we got gas masks with headgear. Simple, just what it says. We got the rusted Commonwealth. It's gonna make things all rusty and walls look dirty and make the world look more like the disgusting wasteland that it's supposed to be. Then we got enemy scaling revamped. It makes sure that no matter how high in level I get, I can't just walk into an area that's capped at, say, level 5 and, steamroll everybody. Everyone will still be more around my level, and it's more noticeable as you go through the game, so that ought to be a lot of fun. Then we got this loot realism collection. It's going to make it so that I'm not just constantly finding piles and piles of scrap and loot everywhere. It's just not going to happen. People have taken it. It's gone. Boxes aren't going to respawn things so quickly. It's going to make the game a little bit more difficult, and I like it that way. Then we got first-person animation tweaks. It does exactly what it says. Your gun stance now relaxes when you're moving. So if you press aim again, you'll aim. But until then, your gun will relax. Then we got a silent main menu. That's why it's so beautiful and quiet right now. We got glowing Hancock. Because, of course, why wouldn't we make Hancock a glowing one? I mean, duh. Then we got see-through scopes. Makes it so that if I can craft them, I get scopes that I can actually see through. No more of that going into a black screen just to look down a awkward sight thing. Then we have enhanced flickering Firelight. It makes it so that the lights are more realistic and not everything gives off the exact same type of light. We got swinging animated meat bags. It makes it so that the meat bags do just that. They sway in the breeze, and now they have flies buzzing all over them. And when I find dead Brahmin and things like that, those will have flies buzzing on them. It just adds to the atmosphere a whole lot. Interiors redux. It makes it so that if I'm inside and there's bad lighting, it's dark. Simple as that. Looks great, believe me. We got the water redux, same thing, makes water look more like water. Vanilla pip flashlight. No more of this area effect walking lantern person thing. I have a flashlight now. That's how I can see. The ridiculous glowing orb effect that you get out of your Pip-Boy in the vanilla game is it's just silly. So now I have a flashlight. We got deadly rad storms, fog / glowing sea. Rad is now bad. Got the reverb and ambiance overhaul. It makes everything in the game sound so much better. So much better. It adds sliders to your audio settings. I suggest personally going in and turning both of them down 4 or 5 notches because they start at max and it's a little much, but they sound great when you turn them down just a little bit. Now, even though this isn't a run where I'm going to be using companions, it still doesn't mean that we won't run into these people. It gives new faces to Kate, Carrie, Piper, Dance, McCready, Preston, and Mama Murphy. It also makes my companions more combat effective, but since I'm not going to be running with them, that really won't matter anyway. Then we have TTP's Drumlin Diner. It really just makes the diner look more lived in. It looks like a place where 2 people actually live and have holed up instead of just a random place that they found and decided to squat in. Now we're getting to the real meat and bones of this playthrough, everyone. We have zombie walkers. Turns all the ferals into the game into slower Romero-style zombies. No more of the skittery, bullet-dodging, strange thing that is feral ghouls in Fallout 4. But believe me, when you see what this next mod does, I'm going to definitely not want them all running at me from every direction. Also, it is worth noting that hitting a zombie with this particular mod on anywhere but the head results in very little damage. So its headshots are nothing. Make it count. And here's the one. I'm telling you. Look at that. Look at that number. More than 1,100 feral ghouls added to the world. They're everywhere. It's gonna be great. I've tested it out a little bit and it's absolutely horrible. Then we have BLEAK. BLEAK makes it so we have no more pretty days and just rain and fog and what he calls snow, but to me it looks more like the Silent Hill effect with all of the ash falling from the sky, which I'm okay with. All in all, it adds up to a really good atmosphere. Here we got saving in survival mode, and I know that sounds like a cheaty thing, but if you're anything like me and you've actually played the vanilla survival mode, you probably agree that the save system is the worst thing about it. Having to go to a bed and sleep in a bed just to save is just silly. Sure, you already have to sleep as part of the survival mode thing. It's part of what you do. You eat, you sleep, you drink, you have diseases, all of that good stuff. But having to find a bed just to save was a thing that almost made me stop playing it until I got a little better at it. Plus, I'm doing a playthrough, so cut me a break. We have fast travel in survival mode, but it's only to settlements that I've unlocked. I'm not going to be building up those settlements, I'm not going to be spending time making them more safe, but they do act as waypoints that makes it a little easier to play in survival mode, and after all the other things that I've added, I think it'll be okay. Then we got balding ghouls. It just makes it so all the ghouls in the world don't look like they have a full head of hair. It's just a little silly. So now they have none, or little. Then we got Virgil's lab. It's a renovation. Makes it something fun to find when we make our way out to the glowing sea, which, as you're going to see in a minute, is going to be a little bit of an extra chore this time around. But I'm looking forward to seeing that lab. I got some unlocked presets here. It just gives me some more bases to work with. And by some, I mean, it says 500. Just gives me something to work with to make a different face than the presets that I have in vanilla Fallout. Then we got ammo as gold. It makes it so that ammo is worth way more. So it means that if I don't find ammo out into the world, I'm going to be spending a lot of money on ammo. Now you might be thinking, that also means he can make a lot of money by selling ammo. Well, that's very true, but this isn't going to be a survival mode run, which means ammo all has weight. And given that one of the rules that you're going to see coming up is that I can only keep what I can carry, carrying around a bunch of ammo just to sell might not be the smartest idea. Now we have realistic gore and dismemberment. This mod makes it so that if something loses a limb, it doesn't automatically die. Instead, they might fall down and keep shooting, or say run away because they lost an arm. It just makes it more realistic, as it says. Nobody's gonna die just because they lost a leg. They are going to be screaming though. And finally, we have Immersive Fallout. This is a mod that I absolutely love. It makes the movement feel so much better. It makes humans slower, it makes monsters faster. It just feels right. And if you've never played it, it's hard to describe, but give it a try sometime and see what you think. Everyone, meet Olivia. She's braver than she knows, and an awful lot tougher too. As for why I made the choices I did for this build, allow me to explain. 5 strength means that along with the modular backpack and the help of chems or beer, we can carry plenty of things, even with the penalties to carry weight in survival mode. We won't worry about big guns yet, as they're heavy and so is the ammo they require, so we're not going to worry about crafting perks until later either, if at all, since carrying the scrap is just going to slow us down further. 4 perception means that we can take the lockpicking perks so that we can eventually get into any locked containers, locked doors, etc. We can also take advantage of the Rifleman perk to do more damage and ignore armor with rifles. Also, once we grab the Perception bobblehead in the Museum of Freedom, we can start taking advantage of the Demolitions Expert perk to make all of our Molotovs, mines, grenades all do more damage. 7 endurance means that we can last a bit longer in combat, but more so we can grab adamantium skeleton so that eventually our limbs will become unbreakable. That's going to be really important in this run, given that we also have the additional Gore and Dismemberment mod, so our arms and legs are softer than ever. It also means that we'll get more runtime out of our few available action points. Running longer is definitely going to be a good thing. 3 charisma isn't much, but it means that we can get to the Lone Wanderer perks, which allow us to carry even more weight and will take less damage when we're traveling without a companion. Both are going to be really important for this playthrough. 5 intelligence gives us the ability to level up at a decent rate, as well as hack terminals that open up alternate paths and security doors that are holding our precious loot hostage. Crafting is going to be limited, again mostly to stripping parts from one weapon to add them to another. So there's no need to take the scrapper perk yet either, as we're not going to be crafting much. 3 agility definitely isn't a lot on its own, but it's enough to take the ranks of sneak that we're going to need, which make it easier to get around in the wasteland when we don't want to fight. And along with the bobblehead and the special book in Sanctuary, it will eventually be up to 5, which is just high enough to grant us access to the Action Girl perk, so what AP we do have comes back substantially faster. And finally, 1 luck means no crazy business with the build. No extra crits, no bonus crit damage, no mysterious stranger to just pop up and kill things for us. It's gonna just be us, our gear, and our wits. Now, all in all, I feel like this build lends itself to a much more grounded playthrough, which is kind of the goal. It's going to go well with the lighter horror aspect that we're aiming for with our atmosphere and some of the mods that we've added to change around the happy-go-lucky nature that Fallout generally has. It also means that finding a piece of armor or a weapon that outclasses our current one in some manner is not just likely, but it's also more exciting. In the vanilla game, especially with the crafting perks on, you could be kitted out in no time with decent gear and have put in very little effort. This setup should mean that the world feels more important as a whole. We'll have to make tough choices, our options are going to be limited, but from where I'm sitting, it should feel like a reinvigorated game full of surprises and danger. Now we've come to the third portion of this breakdown video, the perks. After lots of deliberation, I've narrowed down the massive list of perks to just 13. So like our stats, these are the perks I feel will best complement our intended playstyle for this run. But instead of just telling you which levels to take each perk, I'm just going to be telling you what perks to focus on first. This way it allows you at home to take them whenever they feel necessary, keeping in mind that the higher ranks do still have level requirements. From strength, we're just going to take big leagues, all the way. From perception, we're going to focus on rifleman. We're going to take 3 ranks of lockpick. And once we have the bobblehead for it, we're going to take all the ranks of demolition expert. From endurance, we're going to take all the ranks of toughness, all 3 ranks of life giver, and all 3 ranks of adamantium skeleton. From charisma, it's lone wanderer all the way. From intelligence, we're going to focus on medic. We're going to take hacker to rank 3 and stop there. From agility, we're going to take all ranks of gunslinger. We're going to take all the ranks of Sneak. And finally, we're going to take Action Girl. This one's going to require the bobblehead, and we're going to have to use the special book in Sanctuary to put an extra point into Agility. After we finish off these perks, we're going to reassess our situation and see where we're lacking. But that wraps up the perks, so we can move on to the fourth and final portion of this video, the rules and mindset of our character. Once we get this done, I'm going to cap off this breakdown with a short bit of footage from one of my test runs. So let's go ahead and get the rules out of the way. No permanent base stat increases outside of bobbleheads and magazines after character creation, i.e. we cannot raise our stats upon leveling up. Only keep what we can carry. No stashing items and settlements. If it's not important enough to keep on us, it's just dead weight. If it's still there when we might want it again later, then so be it. No third-person camera. First person makes it a more intense experience. Additionally, the flashlight mod I'm using doesn't work correctly in third person, so we will only have a light at night if we're using first person mode. I'm fine with this for the purposes of this playthrough. No VATs unless it's a flying enemy, in which case we'll only be using melee weapons. Our AP is precious anyway, so not using it up constantly will help us stay mobile. We cannot join any factions, but we can work with them. No companions either. That means Dogmeat and the AI from the Creation Club are out for this particular run through. No settlement building. We can use the workstations and buildings we find there, but we can't add anything to them, with the exception of a single bed if an unowned one isn't already available. We can also work for the settlers if they're already living there, but we can't invite more. Obey the rules in towns and settlements, and around in their territories. I don't pick fights with their guards either. Making enemies everywhere we go is just going to make life that much worse. We don't work for free. We will ask for extra money, but it's unlikely we'll get it. We'll try to talk people into handling things our way. It's unlikely they'll listen. We don't hate anyone that isn't human on that factor alone. If they're friendly, so are we. If they're hostile, then we might be too. That said, pick your battles. Know when it's time to throw in the towel. There's no shame in running from a fight you can't win. You can't enjoy your loot if you're dead anyway. And that's it, Outcasts. We're all set, and I'm anxious to get this playthrough started. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot of info all at once, but it's really for a good cause. So without further ado, here's that footage I promised. Watch it, and get off my lawn.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Just holy shit.